Hi, I'm Madonna from New Leaf Natural Therapies, and we're going to do a little bit of NOT this afternoon, neural organisational technique, which is why I've got Sanu lying face down to start. So what we're going to be working on is making sure the hips are stable so that energy is travelling down through the legs. Then we're going to make sure all the bones of the legs are in place and all the muscles around the hips, the legs, and the ankles are all stably in place because there's a bit of pain in the lower body. So one of the things that I've sort of chatted about before is that tapping releases bone memory. So it's basically something, it's sort of telling the body where you're about to work. So it's just saying, okay body, here we go. So when we're sort of looking at stability with the neck and the hips, firstly you want to make sure the atlas is correct. So the way that you do that, you want to loosen the ankle and then check both ankles, and then you're going to check to see that the legs are the same length. When the legs aren't the same length, sometimes it's the atlas is out underneath the skull. So you straighten the legs and then you lift them. And the right side is shorter than the left, which tells me the atlas is out on the right. So I'm basically going to go on the right side of the neck, find where the atlas is protruding. There it is. And then I'm going to get Sanu to breathe. Okay, so breathe in and out. And it's a gentle little movement during the breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in, breathe out. So that just wakes the atlas up and tries to get it back into where it's supposed to be. And I just massage the muscles around the atlas as well so that it's not being pulled out of position if it's the muscles that are tight too. So now the legs are looking closer to the same length, and now they're closer. It's not perfect, but that's okay because the sacrum might still be unstable, which also changes the leg length. So now that I've adjusted the atlas, the next thing is to make sure that the hamstrings are locking in the clear. So I put pressure on the hamstrings, hold the leg up for me, hold. Okay, so that's not locking on its own. And hold. That one's okay. So it just means that the hamstrings themselves might be a little bit out of kilter. So one of the tools in kinesiology is the old lengthen to strengthen and the Golgi tendon apparatus. So basically you want to wake up the muscle so that it's getting energy into the belly of the muscle, which tells the muscle how strong it's supposed to be holding on to life, the earth, emotions, everything. So then once again, and hold. So now that's locking beautifully. And hold. And funnily enough, this one felt like it was locking before, but now in comparison to a well-locked muscle, it's not feeling 100%. So we'll just wake up the left hamstring as well. Beautiful. Okay, now the ishiotuberosities are right, they're the sitting bones. So I'm going to stack those in. So we're going to ask the body if they're working by checking the hamstring again and again, hold. So when they don't work, it means that the body is having a hard time centering the hip bones and the legs. So all of this area is out of kilter. So, and you can feel these spots basically if you right at the base of the buttocks. If they're tender, quite often, it's because they're just working overtime. So ishiotuberosities, we need to get them working together. And again, hold. Beautiful. Now they work in tandem with these little spots at the base of the skull called the labyrinthine reflex points. So I'm stacking those in and once again, hold. So this tells me that the head is having a hard time balancing on the shoulders. The funny thing is when we're in pain, the body can be so focused on the area in pain that other areas start to fall apart that have nothing to do with where we've actually got the pain, because the body can only end up putting so much energy into a certain amount. It has to focus where it can. So now we'll make sure these little guys are up and running. And again, hold. Beautiful. And now we'll see if these are talking together, the head and the hips. And again, hold. And no, they're not. So we need to do them simultaneously so that the head and the hips know where each other. So I'm just rubbing these little points for 10 to 15 seconds, and that wakes them up and gets them communicating with each other. And again, hold. Beautiful. Now the next thing I'm going to check is the tailbone, because the sacrum, which is in the lower part of the spine, there's a whole bunch of little holes around the outside of the sacrum, and nerves go from the sacrum all the way down to the tips of the toes. So when we're starting to get numbness in the extremities or burning pain in the extremities or anything like that, sometimes it's actually the sacrum that's having a hard time. Now, if the tailbone is jammed, the tailbone can be compressing everything the whole way up the spine. So therefore, that can impact on the sacrum and impact on the nervous system, going all the way down to your tootsies. So, tailbone. So I activate C3 on the neck, and then I activate the tailbone and ask if it's locking, and that's not locking. There's no energy there at all, which means that this area of the spine is jammed. So once again with the breath, Sanu, breathe in and out. And I'm pushing the tailbone away from her head. Breathe in and out. And I'm lifting C3 up. Breathe in and out. So it's a lift and a lengthen. And then I'll recheck that and hold. Beautiful. Next thing I'm going to check is the knife hand on the sacrum. Hold. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not 100%, so I'll just give it a little wiggle. Sometimes if the cardiac back shows up, it means that it's also jamming through the spinal respiratory fault, so we'll check that as well. And hold. Yeah, right. Okay. So maybe the cardiac back is affecting this, but only a little bit at the moment. When we're in pain and stress, sometimes the body starts to get anxiety about the onset of pain or stress. So we can start developing symptoms like anxiety or palpitations or even blood pressure and stuff that we didn't have before the pain onset. So it's sort of always a good idea to pay attention when we start being in pain. Hey, Sanu. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And hold. Beautiful. Okay. So now I'm going to check cardiac back again, just because it showed, no, that's fine. Just making sure. So the next thing I want to make sure is that the sacrum, if I just put pressure away from the mid-center, hold, that's fine, and this side, and hold, So I'm pulling away and the leg's unlocking, which means the sacrum is a little bit twisted. It's trying to hold itself in together, so it doesn't want to be pushed this way. So basically there's an imbalance. So what that's doing is going to be compressing the occiput on the left side of the skull and compressing this side of the hip. So I'm just going to basically activate the left side of the sacrum. So sort of giving it a jiggle really. And then I'm going to loosen the left side of the occiput on the base of the skull. Lift C3 on the left side of the neck. Massage in the center of the glutes. And just tap in the lower lumbar spine. And that's the combination of things we need to get the left sacrum and the left occiput communicating if they're out on their own. And hold. Beautiful. I'll just double check the right and double check the left. And now I'm going to put my arm just across both hamstrings and hold, and if that unlocks, it means the whole sacrum and the whole occiput and the whole sacrum just needs a little bit of work as well. Now, because the pain is connected to stress and stress hormones as well as pain and pain hormones, we'll just ask the body in relation to those things. So with kinesiology, you can ask a question. You can have muscles locking that are absolutely not going anything, and then ask a question, and then it can just unlock, which gives you an idea that there's something going on within that, we call it a circuit. Within that circuit, there's a problem. So let's just ask in relation to stress and stress hormones, and hold up. So stress hormones are impacting on the sacrum and the occiput. So from an energetic perspective, they sort of talk about if these are jammed, we don't have enough kundalini traveling up the spine, we don't have enough spinal cord energy, we don't have a process for the body to deal with these things. So stress and stress hormones, and hold. And pain hormones, and hold. Okay. And it's the same, it was the same feeling of unlock with both stress and stress hormones as well as pain and pain hormones. Which of course makes sense because stress and pain hormones are both made in the adrenal glands, And of course, if we get that whole feedback loop in the brain going on, that our life is going to be stressed, our life's going to be in pain, our cells just get so used to making the same hormones over and over and over again. Pain and pain hormones hold. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'll get you to turn over onto your back for me. Okay, so I'm going to make sure the femur bones are sitting in the hip sockets properly, because if they're not, any inflammation in here can also cause nerve supply impingement going down the legs. So it's a knife hand. Once again, make sure the arms are working. Hold for me and hold. So they're locking. So just knife hand on the femur bone and hold, and that's unlocking. And hold, and that's unlocking. So basically the way you pop those in, just get a nice 90-degree angle, and it's just gently wiggling it into the joint with a little bit of a twist you can see there. Then I turn the leg inwards and gently push into the hip, and I roll the fascia lata muscle, and I'll show you on this side. You roll the fascia lata muscle up towards the front of the body, because sometimes that muscle falls out of its groove, which allows the bone to fall out of its joint. So once again, knife hand and hold. Beautiful. So once again, and then it's just a jiggle into the joint, and then we roll that fascia lata up, and then I'll just come around this side, so I turn the leg into the center, and then I'm just pushing up into that joint. Beautiful. Then just make sure that's locking. Now I might also make sure the glute medius muscles, so the glute medius is right on the side of the hips. I'll just put my hand on that to ask that question. Yeah, right. Because there's also the possibility of the groove of the glute medius muscle falling out of its position as well. When we're in pain, some muscles will lock and be too tight, and other muscles will unlock, because if everything's too tight when we're in pain, all our muscles would rip off the bone, so that's not going to work for us. So the body does the best it can under painful circumstances, pardon the pun. So now they're locking. Now I'll also check that positioning. The way you check the glute medius muscles integrity is to bring the leg out to the side, hold out, don't let me pull into the center. That's fine. Hold out, don't let me push into the center. So they're locking beautifully. I'm going to check muscles on the inside of the legs called adductors and gracilis, because that helps to stabilize from here to here. So basically the adductors relates to the adrenal glands. Hold the leg in, don't let me pull out, and hold in, don't let me pull out. So neither one of those are locking. Neither of them have a lot of integrity. Now I'm going to turn the foot into the center, hold in, don't let me pull out. That's fine. Hold in, don't let me pull out. Right, so the adductors is a big triangular muscle from here up into the inside of the groin. So when that muscle isn't working, it's indicating that basically the muscles of the legs are being held together by other muscles that have to do their job. So we need to wake up the adductor muscles, which, like I said, relates to the adrenal gland. So they're usually exhausted if we've been in pain or stress long term. The meridian for that runs from the ring finger, up the arm, around the ear, to the outside of the eyebrow. So I'll just run that meridian. And I'll do the other side as well, because there wasn't a lot of energy going on. So yeah, starts at the ring finger, round the ear, end of the eyebrow. So running the meridian is like acupuncture without needles, which suits me because I'm terrified of needles. But, okay, so once again, hold in, don't let me pull out on the right, and don't let me pull out at right. So now they're locking beautifully. Next one we want to check is the quadriceps, because that's a big muscle on the front of the legs. So hold, so basically get into this position and hold, don't let me push to the floor. Okay. And hold up, don't let me push to the floor. So not a lot of integrity with the quadriceps. I'm doing the lengthen to strengthen technique and wiggling the Golgi tendon apparatuses. In Chinese medicine, the quadriceps relates to the small intestine meridian, so it's underneath the rib cage where we send lymph to these muscles. So when muscles are in pain, quite often the lymph is having a really hard taking the stress toxins or the lactic acid or the whatever hormones are attaching into the muscles. They just get locked in there, and that keeps on creating an acidity and pain. And hold up, beautiful. And hold up, excellent. Now the next one I want to check is the fascia lata. So we made sure they were sitting in their grooves before when we did the femur bone, but the fascia lata muscle is on the outside of the leg. It relates to large intestine, and it also goes hand in hand with this muscle, quadratus lumborum, which also relates to large intestine energy. So sometimes with muscles, if you can do several muscles with the same meridian, you get to do the same correction, so you're saving yourself time. So it's lifting the leg and turning the foot inwards, that's the direction. Hold up. It tried, but no cigar. Hold up. Okay, hold on to the edges of the table. Legs are coming out to the side. Now hold out, don't let me push into the middle. And hold out, don't let me pull into the middle. Okay, so basically the fascia lata, we rub that muscle, so these are the neurolymphatics for the large intestine meridian, as is the inside of the thigh, so I just give that a firm movement, and then the lower spine around the sacrum, give that a bit of a rub. And then there's some neurovascular points on the side of the skull, just on the inside of the ears. So I just hold them until they pulse. And again, hold up for me, beautiful. Hold up, and again, hold on to the edges of the table. Hold out, don't let me push to the left, excellent. Don't let me pull to the right. Hold out. Yeah, not quite, it's pretty good. Not quite there. So I'm just going to check a little process called SIPS. Yeah, so I've just got a chart in my head, but basically there's more lymph that's jammed in those muscles. So I need some lymphatic points. I'm going to see whether there's some emotional gear locked into that. So this is, yeah, there is. So the legs energetically are in escape submission freeze. They're wanting to run away. Down to Lennox Head for the holiday. It's Christmas. So whenever I'm running these points down through here, they're accessing a part of the brain called the amygdala. And when we're under stress, our brain has got 1/500th of a second to respond to crisis. And if not, it whips into the amygdala in the brain, and that runs an old pattern, whether it's pain or punishment or fight or flight or escape or rage or anger, you know, they're all in there. So once again, let's see whether that helps. And hold up, that's better. And there's one, and hold out. Lovely, good, good, good. So, the other thing I might do is a couple of PNF stretches just to sort of show how, because the muscles I've checked so far have all been underactive. So when they unlock, that's an underactive muscle. What I'm going to do now is check a couple of core muscles down through here to see whether they're overworking, because muscles in the feet and calves are more likely to be overworking because they're strong, because we're on our feet all day, every day as human beings, ever since we came from monkeys. So anyway, so it's pulling on that muscle, and I use really firm pressure there because that big toe muscle, it attaches in several positions. It attaches at the base of the foot, in underneath the heel, the top of the heel around the Achilles. It attaches in behind the knee, and it even attaches in underneath the buttocks with this big long tendon that goes along there. So if this one is too tight, then it can be compressing everything from your feet, your knees, your hips, you know, basically the whole way up, it can be compressing this. So you can see how firmly I'm holding that. I'm not mucking around. Hold it nice and strong, and that's unlocking, which means it doesn't want to be stretched. It's trying to claw Sanu into the earth so that she's safe. It's about safety, it's about grounding. So that's unlocking, which means we need to do a PNF stretch on that. Check the other side as well, and hold. Okay, so P and F stretch. So I push really firmly, breathe in, breathe out and push towards me. And I'm going to go to the outside of the feet, breathe in, breathe out and push. So these are the brevis muscles, breathe in, breathe out and push. So there's the flexor hallucis longus, and breathe in, breathe out and push. Beautiful. So now we'll recheck. So I check on the inside of the foot, so on the big toe side, hold, and then on the outside. Beautiful. Big toe and outside. And actually, because the pain's been there for a while, I'll also check the tibials. So the tibials is the top. If someone ends up with, say, shin splints, you know, like walking on concrete or doing a hill when you're not used to it, or doing an extra 15 minutes of walking in the hot sun on a sweaty hot day when you're not expecting it, these muscles can all go, ah, what the heck are we doing? So I'm going to straighten the foot. So basically I'm lengthening all these tibial muscles in here, I'm lengthening them. So hold up for me. Yeah, right, and hold. So we sort of do the opposite with this one. So I'm going to put pressure on both of these simultaneously, and I'm going to get you to breathe in. When you're breathing out, you lift them towards me. Okay, breathe in, breathe out and lift. And breathe in and relax, breathe out and lift. And breathe in and relax, breathe out and lift. I always do the magic number of 3. Seems to work most of the time. So once again, I'm lengthening it and hold the arm up. Beautiful. I'm lengthening it and hold up. Excellent. Now, once again, with calf pain, I'm going to now check the soleus muscle in here. So you need to bend the knee, and then basically I'm lifting the foot as much as it can. So basically it means it's this muscle in behind here, which is as tight as anything. So I'm lengthening that. Yeah. So this time, Sanu, I want you to breathe in. When you're breathing out, just lengthen your leg, okay? Breathe in, breathe out and lengthen. And breathe in and relax, breathe out and lengthen. And one more time, breathe in, breathe out and lengthen. Beautiful. So now go back into that position and again hold. Oh, no, that one needs something else. So I'm going to put in some Bowen technique moves. I'm basically going to activate the spindle cells in the belly of the gastroc and soleus muscles and see if there's some other energy that's sort of stuck in there. So firstly, I'm going to go to the amygdala points again. So this little spot through, so there's some old pain and punishment circuitry. So once again, legs, feet are about, these muscles energetically in Chinese medicine are about the adrenal glands. They're about being grounded. They're about being safe. So when our body doesn't feel safe, they don't want to relax. They want to keep Sanu nice and strong and, you know, clamped to the earth so nothing can happen to her. So I always think it's a good idea to find a structural therapist who can do a bit of emotional work at the same time. There's a lot of therapists out there who have these skills. It's finding someone who can really marry together that structural and emotional stuff simultaneously. And again, so once again, bend the knee, lengthen the foot, okay, and hold. That's better. And this one, and hold, okay. So once again, breathe in, breathe out and straighten. And breathe in and relax, breathe out and straighten. And breathe in and relax, breathe out and straighten. Okay, and once again into the shortest position and hold. Yeah, right, so that one actually did eat quicker than the left. Oh, yeah, right, you had the left ankle thing for a long time, didn't you? Okay. No, so there's no amygdala stuff in there, so the same emotional gear over here, although it might have just been cleared from both simultaneously. So that's cool too. So I might just double check because the ankles are sore to see whether their ankle bones are in place. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure either side of the heel. So that's checking if the calcaneus is in place. Hold, that's fine. In the middle of the foot, hold, not so much. And the toes, okay. And hold, once again, calcaneus is okay. Hold, middle of the foot, not so happy. And by the toes, really unhappy. So with the foot manipulation, one day I'll do a specific foot manipulation one so that you can see it close up. But you've got to loosen the ankles first. Then we're going to make sure the calcaneus is in position. So you're sort of pulling the foot and just doing a repositioning. That didn't feel so bad. And then I'm going to reposition the naviculars and the cuboids in underneath there. Breathe, Sanu, breathe. These can be a little bit ouchy, but they feel great afterwards generally. So, because these bones through here, they can be really jammed, just with life, with stress, with work shoes, with all sorts of things. Then you want to make sure the toes are in position, so it's a little bit of a straighten and bend. Do, 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 do. Ouchies, ouchie, you can do it, you can do it. Done, 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 done. I always joke with the foot stuff, I only do each mean bit once. And the outside, oh yeah, nice. So that bone was actually out of position.
Oh, that's what we
so that's nice.
Yay.
I was expecting that with dude I did before, it didn't show up. We thought, oh, hello. So that calcaneus just cracked like a crazy thing. So once again, repositioning the navicular, then the cuboid bones. Oh yeah, that was a good one. And then these bones across the top, you sort of give them a wiggle in both directions just to help to loosen them up. And then with the toes, you lengthen and then you get them back into position. Do, 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 do. Nice, nice, nice. And once again, beautiful. So that's a bit of a reposition for everything from there down that I can think of. So hopefully that was good fun. Okay, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.